Alright, everybody.
Objective unlocks.
Back here with Winton Lab, map number 2 on Coliseum. And going out, we've got a swap in the tank department. We've got Fiction on the Zarya. And then Maxed on the Junkrat. Canine Soldier. Cheese Wizard on Baptiste, and Zero on Zen. Nice early pick. One early thing. I know how this map turns out, so I'm going to try to find some coaching moments as early as possible. With Coliseum, it's got this giant, huge sightline. This screams Widowmaker and Hanzo. And so, Soldier and Bap, they're not the perfect longest range heroes, but they're all of these except for Zarya are poke. And for the other team, they're running Orisa. Symmetra poke can kind of work in this one because her projectiles are really large and they take up a lot of space. And then Lucio, he's not your ideal poke hero. He can help get you out of poke problems, but he's much better for rush or brawl. Sorry, rush or dive. There we go, or brawl or dive, whichever way you want to call it. But not really good for poke when he's got a lot of long-range damage coming in, and he doesn't put a lot of long-range damage out. Other noticeable things is we've got the Zarya going into an Orisa. That's really like almost an automatic win for the Zarya. Right. And then, okay, good positioning where we've got tank up front, some range DPS in the middle, and some long-range folks at the back. So Cheese, oops, little building splice there. Cheese Wizard getting some good positioning, keeping that bot moving. Zero getting some valuable range damage. Soldier doing work. I feel like Zarya's a little overextended right now, just health-wise. Can't quite tell. Yeah, they've got an orb on them, but that orb only does so much healing. Now, this is the part where we need to communicate this a little better, because if we had rotated into the room over here by the bot, we could get some healing help from Cheese Wizard. Right now, the best he can do is get some bridge healing on the Zarya. But everyone else is left to the mercy of a Zenyatta orb. That's not a... Ooh, nice. It's not a lot of healing. Oh, man. Now, this is the point... Once you get up to this straightaway, Zenyatta is actually much more effective from back here, because Zen can shoot and heal from all the way back here. Not going to be able to apply that Discord, but can still get healing, or can keep a healing orb on a friendly target in line of sight and apply range damage. Whereas Bap can like arc and lob those healing grenades in from a distance. Oh, and there's the play of the game. You'll love to see it. Make sure we keep pushing that bot all the way. But yeah, even though it turned out pretty solidly handled, getting a better value out of Zenyatta. Oh! They just all died one by one. Oof, that was intense. So for Coliseum, use the long range sightlines to your advantage in picking heroes. Lucio is not nearly as effective as he could be on this map. Until Brawl or Rush become a must-pick meta comp, there are other heroes on this map that get much better value. Actually, let's go back to the hero screen. So if you're looking at support heroes on Coliseum, Lucio's probably not your best bet. Ana, really good. Baptiste, he's really strong right now. And he can get value on this one, not as much as Ana. Brig, honestly, I would call Brig a break in case of glass, like if you have to deal with a dive enemy, but otherwise Brig would not be my first pick either. Iliari's really strong right now. Kiriko's really strong. Lifeweaver even is pretty strong. Lucio, I wouldn't take him. I would take Mercy if I had a good pocket partner. So an Ashe or a Soldier. Otherwise, I'd probably leave Mercy out just because she's also very counter pickable. If you go Mercy and they've got a good Widowmaker, dink, no more Mercy. Same thing with Moira. She doesn't get nearly as much long range value. Admittedly, I'm biased as a long-time Zen player. I love Zenyatta on this map because of those long sight lines where you can keep a friendly orb up on a target. Before the nerf, I could be a little more effective on Discords, but even with the nerf, I can apply a Discord and back up and still keep the threat on that discorded target unless they retreat from the fight. So even though I've done no damage, I've still had an influence on the fight. Now, add in damage to that, you get so much better. So looking at the heroes you've picked to match the situation you're in. Similarly with tanks, tanks are in a really weird spot right now where there's several different Overwatch content creators call it the counter pick and swap until the game is over. But just dealing with the range of the map, Orisa and Ramattra are really strong because they have that long distance. Dive tanks like Winston, Wrecking Ball, Diva, and Doomfist, they have their potential, especially if you're dealing with a single sniper of sorts, but they're also limited because they can just get poked down. For example, if you catch a Doomfist and you're shooting a Hanzo into a Doomfist without block, I think it's 3 headshots to drop a Doomfist. So using that to your advantage. And then likewise the heroes. A lot of heroes have really good range capacity. Reaper's not one of them. I'm trying to think of other ones. Symmetra kinda, not really. Tracer can be annoying on this map just because of all the different flanks and nooks and crannies. But as far as controlling that giant sightline, she's not as good at it. Bastion is better than he used to be, but still kind of weaker. Ashe is really strong here. Echo and Pharah can control a lot of Pharah can control a lot of space. Even Mei's sickles can be annoying, but you want to think of controlling the sightline with damage. Back in the day, it was the tanks whose responsibility was to walk up front and hold the shield or the defense matrix, whatever it is, and command the space. The tanks have to make space was the old mantra. But now in Overwatch 2, the damage have to control that same space by the damage they throw into those sight lines. So I hope that's been helpful. I think my feedback is longer than the actual match, but I hope